to the Weekly Gaming Roundup for the 6th of November 2020. So in this episode of Weekly Gaming Roundup, I'm going to do a very quick hardware review on the PlayStation 5. On a side note, if you haven't seen the unboxing of the PlayStation 5 already, you can go to Yahoo Esports Southeast Asia to see me unboxing this whole entire thing with a few other accessories as well. So a very quick review on the hardware of the PlayStation 5. This thing is definitely next gen. Loading times for games have been dramatically reduced, and a lot of the PlayStation 4 games that I've played on this console, if it's not locked at 30 frames per second, it actually runs really well. And I cannot stress how much loading times have been reduced. So games like Death Stranding, whenever you press like enter game into the game loading itself, it takes about 10 seconds to load everything, but on this, it just takes about 2 to 3 seconds. And PlayStation Asia actually sent me Spiderman Miles Morales to play on this console as well, and as you guys know, it is a launch title for the PlayStation 5, and it runs really well as well. And I've tested the heat output and all that on the PlayStation 5, and I can say that this thing actually doesn't run that hot. Sure, like any other console, when it runs games, it does become a little warm. But even at the exhaust portion here where you see all these ports are, it is actually not that hot, to be very frank. I can safely say that the PlayStation 5 is very well made. Now when it comes to memory, the PlayStation 5 only comes with 750GB of storage space. And I can tell you, after installing giant games like Modern Warfare, that 750GB is not enough to install multiple games. I mean, sure, you can install like 5 to 6 games, but I tell you, developers need to reduce the size of their games, but that's a whole different topic altogether. So when it comes to expanding the memory of the PlayStation 5, I have not covered this in the unboxing, but I'm going to show you how to actually insert an NVMe drive into the PlayStation 5. And it is actually pretty simple. So what you want to do right now, you see where the PlayStation logo is? This is the first cover to come off. So what you want to do is just put it down like this on a flat surface. I'm doing it on my hand because you can't see my table. So what you want to do is that press it against something, so I guess your body or your hand. Hold this part and then just push it backwards, and this comes off. Then what you want to do is turn it around. So the same thing on the opposite end of the disk drive. Do the same thing. Just slowly just push it to the back, and there you go. Now after doing that, you can see that there's this little portion here. Take a Phillips screwdriver and unscrew this portion. Now after unscrewing, you can just lift this cover out, and here is your compartment for the NVMe drive. So the PlayStation 5 supports up to 110mm long NVMe drives, but just to play safe, just get any kind of 2280, preferably PCIe 4.0, and you can actually insert it into the PlayStation 5. So what you want to do is just take your NVMe drive, insert it in. Don't press too hard, and it will stick out like this. So what you want to do, there is a screw over here. Just unscrew this, press this down, and screw your NVMe drive onto the PlayStation 5. And after you're done, obviously put back the cover and screw it back on. Now to put the covers back onto the PS5, it is also actually pretty simple. So just take the cover, place it on the PlayStation 5. You will feel it locking into place like this. What you want to do is just push it forward until you hear a click sound. There you go. On the opposite end, do the same. Push until you hear a click sound. And there you go. The PlayStation 5 is reassembled. I must say that they really made it very easy to install an external drive on the PlayStation 5. Because on the old PlayStation 4, if you want to expand your drive, you got to open up a lot of things, pull out the hard disk, and then you got to insert it in and make sure it aligns and all that kind of stuff. It was quite an ordeal as far as I can remember, but this is just like installing it on a computer. Besides that, the DualSense 5, which is the PlayStation 5's controller, has officially become my most favorite controller of all time. It is so ergonomic, the thumbsticks are really natural now, and I really have no complaints. Then it comes to the headset. Well, the headset is just basically a normal headset. It doesn't give any extra oomph to the sound of the PlayStation 5. But when it comes to like the wireless connectivity, there are no noticeable lag, and yeah, it's a good accessory. And like I said earlier, PlayStation also provided me with Spider-Man Miles Morales as the first PlayStation 5 game that I was supposed to play on the PlayStation 5. There were two graphical modes in Spider-Man Miles Morales. One of them is Performance Mode and the other is Fidelity Mode. Performance Mode basically made it run at 60 frames per second but without all the ray tracing and all the crazy shadows and all that. And with Fidelity Mode, they actually introduced ray tracing and shadows and all the next gen kind of stuff but locks the game at 30 frames per second. The Fidelity Mode looked pretty great, but after switching to Performance Mode and playing it at 60 frames per second, I don't think I want to play Spider-Man at 30 frames per second anymore. So yeah, a quick review on the game itself. The story is still top notch. If you've played the old Spider-Man, you will definitely love this game. Gameplay is still smooth as ever, and because of the PlayStation 5's loading time, you practically do not see any kind of scene transitions happening, and it is a really good feeling. Gameplay is seamless, the combat is so fluid. It really is a good time to be a gamer. And with that out of the way, let's get into some quick fire news. AMD has finally released their Ryzen 5000 series of CPUs, and it is beating Intel into a pulp in gaming and also a lot of productivity workloads. Capcom has said that some third party was affecting their network and servers on the 2nd of November. So in short, they were hacked. But they said there were no personal information that was compromised, so I don't know if to believe them or not, but take it for what it is. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War will be launched on the 30th of November 2020. So that's all for this week's news roundup. Tune in next week for more updates.
Yeah!